Hi guys, I just got back from the Jinjer opening night in Seattle on their 2021 North American tour. They are out on the road with Suicide Silence and All Hail the Yeti as their support. Ah, what an insane show. And they're headlining. That is so people have waited a really long time for this tour because if you already follow Jinjer, you already know this tour was delayed from 2020 and pushed into 2021. If you follow their social media, you already know that they announced earlier this afternoon that Vlad had to miss the show tonight. He's probably going to miss a few more shows. He tested positive for COVID before the show, so was not able to perform. Instead of canceling the tour or canceling the dates, they decided to go ahead and perform. And instead of having a drummer, they used recorded drum tracks, which in a sense is kind of like having Vlad there, but just not there. You know, you got to do what you got to do, right? To stay in the moment with all the COVID situation. What I can tell you guys, my show is at Seattle's Corazon. The venue holds 800 people and it was completely sold out and it was packed balls to the wall. It was pretty gross. Even with masks on, it was still pretty gross. But that's small venues are that way. And that is just kind of the way that it goes. The sweatiness, the environment, the brethren of metal fans, it was so great to be back in that mess. Even though I do have to say, honestly, this is my first show back since my one show that I did in May when I went to check out Jeff Tate while he was in town. Much bigger venue, a lot less people. So this one was a little nerve-wracking for me. But the venue in Seattle, because of mandates, they do require masks right now. And I guess on Monday, the 25th of October, they start doing vaccination. You have to prove you've had been vaccinated or you either have to have a test negative for COVID before the show. So they're looking out for people. I know there's a lot of people who don't agree with it. There was a couple of frosty folks tonight at Corazon that wanted to give security some lip when they were asked to kindly put their masks back up. And all I can say to that, dudes, if this tour is coming your way and you guys have mandates, don't be dicks to your venue staff. They're just doing their jobs. You gotta support these guys, okay? So I was a little disappointed to see some people in Seattle flipping the attitude. Not cool, not cool. It's the rules. If you want the venues open and you want to go to the shows, we kind of have to follow along with that, right? So what did the show bring? So much fun and intensity. So the show kicked off with All Hail the Yeti. They are from Hollywood and it was heavy from the get-go and they stirred up the crowd and had the energy flowing, lots of moving around, hair flying, and it was so cool and alternating vocals. It was just such a great moment to sit there and listen to metal live, the crowd screaming. So much fun. And they went on to just wrap the crowd around their little finger, have them up medaling and banging their fists. And, it was a great starter to the show. Then we were joined by Suicide Silence, and that was intense. We have to stop kind of. This is one of those moments because if you're not from Seattle and you don't know the Corazon venue, there's a lower floor and then there's an upper level that's just a little tiny, like you can like 3 or 4 people deep behind you. And so there's like a barrier, like a wall. But you have to worry sometimes with that crowd. If they get so insane with the pit, the walls shake. And so I'm always like, there's going to be that one day where that wall goes. And that's what I felt like tonight because Suicide Silence was like, we're going to just split the crowd, divide you. Now wait till I say go. Like he was trying to stir the pit. And oh my God, did he ever? Oh my God. The crowd was like, and then you hear this Suicide Silence is like, I think they said it was like 600 days since they did their last live show. And they're like, we've waited a long time for this. You're going to wait the right rules, and if you forgot the rules, you'll wait till I say go. It was so fun. The crowd's all stirred up and the floor is divided, and man, as soon as he said go, I got video for you. Watch this. It's absolutely insane.
And you guys right here, scoop that shit back. single fucking person moves. Not a single fucking person moves until I say go. Are you ready? Corazon! 1, 2, 3, go!
Now, I normally would jump into a crowd, but I'm just still a little skittish about wanting to jump back in these pits just yet. But also, this one was quite dicey. It was, man, they were throwing the shots, pop, pop, and people were just stirred up, and it was some heavy, like, poof, poof, we're going to push you down, but don't leave a man behind, right? Nobody got left behind. The guys and gals in the pit were having a fantastic time. It was sweaty and crazy. And, Suicide Silence just really lit the crowd before Jinjer came on. It was like the intensity just kept growing between All Hail Yeti, Suicide Silence just kept stacking. And then the moment that Jinjer came out, the crowd just kind of went totally nuts. They were waiting and ready. Hands were already up, like ready to go. And I had to tell you, it was sad to not have Vlad there on drums, but it was kind of a different dynamic watching the show and how they actually persevered through that. And the drum tracks were actually really good. So if you were maybe somewhere in a venue where you couldn't see anyway, you just would not have seen the drummer, you would have never really noticed that much of a difference, aside from the interaction you get with the crowd and just the live. But the sound was really that good. It was nice to hear Tatiana's voice. I mean, it's so beautiful. She's got such a great voice, and her live voice is just top notch. So it was really cool to see all that. And then, of course, Roman's out there playing his beautiful guitar. The guys are they were just rocking and having a great time. And the crowd just really fed back and forth. And you could just see that between the interaction, the band to the crowd, and Tatiana kept leaning down to the crowd. And that interaction scene with it was so cool. So guys, I have some video from the gig and I have some photos because of course I was there taking photos. There will be a gallery of photos up on our Flickr and you guys can check that out. I will link it in the bottom below of the comments so you guys will have that. But man, oh man. It felt so good to be back out at a live gig again. I actually, I'm just kind of pinching myself, the whole way home and was like, oh my God, I just saw a show. And I'm like, Jinjer. I'm like that giddy. Jinjer. I saw a Jinjer show. Losing my mind because it just felt so good to be back out there with the brethren of metal fans and music lovers and to go out with bands that I dig anyway, to watch the shows, and I haven't seen anything from really Suicide Silence. I believe the last thing I did with them, I covered their live gig that they did, their live online thing that they did a while back during the COVID lockdown. So it's nice to see people out moving around again and getting something back in there. Now, will I go full steam for shows right now? I don't know about that just yet. I'm still a little skittish about the crowd thing and I think it's just being at home as long as I have. I kind of gotten comfortable in my own space and not having to actually have people rubbing you. I mean, there are some things that I never missed from venues even before COVID, and people constantly bumping you was kind of one of those things. I'm an introverted extrovert, kind of that extrovert introvert kind of thing weird where I'm comfortable in my own space, and gigs and things are the only thing I really dig going out and doing that involve tons of people. So with that said, guys, if you are planning to go see the Jinjer North American tour with Suicide Silence and All Hail the Yeti, make sure you get your tickets because a lot of the dates are already sold out. And if you sleep on getting your tickets, the closer they get to your place, you are not going to get a ticket. Because once people start realizing how good the show is and realizing that they're on tour and hearing more and more about it, those tickets are going to be gone. So make sure you guys get your tickets. And I did scan the merch booths. There is a ton of killer merch between all the bands, so definitely make sure you come with your card or your money because they do take cards. I did check to see that. You guys want to support the bands, buy some merch while you're out there. Go and have a great time with your brethren and enjoy this tour because it is completely insane. It's such a great show. I will see you guys with the next thing I put up. I don't know if it's going to be a show review or if it's going to be a reaction review, but You guys now have my thoughts on the Jinjer tour. I'm so glad it came here first. Man, it was great. Bye.